And I think I speak on behalf of everyone here, and that I'm looking forward to a great evening tonight. And I know I'm personally looking forward to seeing Ryan out on the dance floor. Belly, come on in. I'm personally looking forward to seeing Ryan out on the dance floor, other than those two mandated dances with her mother and his new bride. But Michelle, we'll go ahead and get started with you, since you are the bride and this is your special day. So I know from getting married myself about 2 years ago that there's a lot of stress when it comes to all this wedding planning, you know, from trying to pick out the perfect venue to put together the save the dates and the invitations and trying to figure out who's worthy of being here, to the floral arrangements and the hours that you spend trying to find the perfect dress to wear, and really the list goes on. But I couldn't imagine what all that stress was like on top of what was really stressing you out during this whole wedding planning process. Let's be honest, that was Randall Cobb's free agency for the Green Bay Packers this offseason. But you know, I think I speak on behalf of everyone here in saying that we're glad everything got sorted out, both for the nuptials and for the Packer Nation. And I think it's safe to say that the future looks bright on both fronts.
I agree.
So I first met Michelle back in the high school days. I believe it was our sophomore year when she transferred into Montini Catholic, and I always thought it was crazy that someone was moving all the way from Singapore across the globe to transfer to Montini right down the street, because you know the norm at Montini was you go there for a year or two and you transfer out, but she was doing the exact opposite. But little did I know something crazier was going to happen about 10 years later, and that was the fact that she was going to be marrying my brother and become a part of the family. Although we knew each other over those high school years, it really wasn't until one of my best friends, Mark Cronin, who was living with Ryan at the time in his townhouse in Darien, and they had a little... The two of them had a little day drinking session and had some bags and friends over. And Mark invited Michelle and a group of other people over. And rumor has it that Michelle fell in love after she first laid her eyes on the first piece of Packer memorabilia in Ryan's townhouse that day. And I think to this day, Mark still feels that the two of them are indebted to him for the matchmaking services he provided the two of them that day. But in all seriousness, I couldn't have asked for a better bride for my brother, and I think I speak on behalf of everyone in the Hyde family, saying that we're thrilled to officially have you as part of the family, and the future is bright. So, to Michelle. Ryan, where do I begin? Well, being 2 years younger than you, we obviously shared a lot of the same footsteps growing up. From going to pretty much all the same schools, to having many of the same teachers, to playing a lot of the same sports, you know, as two boys would be growing up. And I remember over all those years being very competitive with you in nature, regardless of what we were doing. And kind of come to the realization that after all these years, part of the reason why I was always so competitive with you is because you always set the bar so high, and I was always just trying to get to your level. For those of you who didn't know Ryan growing up, he was a typical older brother who had all the toys and gadgets that, you know, any younger brother with the right head on his shoulders would naturally want to get his hands on. So over the years, I managed to borrow a lot of his things, whether he knew about it or not. So whether that was the early years in grade school, where I would steal his briefcase full of Pogs and Slammers and bring them to Fairview School to show off at recess and act as if they were my own, to the older years of junior high, where I would borrow some of his Abercrombie & Fitch clothes and maybe his Dino Comp bike so I could go to Four Corners shopping center and look cool with my friends. to the older years in high school, where there was no possible way I was going to be able to take his car keys without him knowing, considering he loved that car more than life itself. And let me remind you or inform you that this was a car that he washed 7 days a week and did every possible upgrade that you could do to a Lexus. So whether that was ripping and replacing every single speaker in the car and installing subwoofers, to putting 18 or 19-inch chrome rims, to an in-dash DVD player so you can watch music videos when you're cruising around the streets, to feeling the need to get a sophisticated alarm system with a photo of his car on the little gadget, and he could remotely turn it on from 200 yards away. For whatever reason, he needed to do that. But, you know, Ryan was nice enough to actually lend me that car a couple times so I could take my then high school girlfriend out on a few dates so I could impress her. And clearly had an impression because I was lucky enough to marry her 2 years ago. But moral of the story is, Ryan, you've looked out for me after all these years, whether you've known about it or not. And, you know, I couldn't be happier for the two of you. And, you know, like my mother-in-law always says, the best is yet to come. And it gives me great honor and pleasure to invite everyone to raise their glasses. It's for me to introduce Ryan and Michelle, the new Mr. and Mrs. Hyde.
One more time for our best man and brother. Thank you, Matt. Great job, buddy.